Big good one here, and eventually we will like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff, help promote and rank up my channel. So we're going to be reviewing Cherry. Now, I don't have early access like everybody, so I'm sure this review won't get much traction, but this is an Apple Plus movie. I think it's now on Apple. It started out in theaters, and now it's like on Apple Plus, whatever that their streaming service is, because everybody's got their own damn streaming service. But the Russo Brothers bring us something drastically different than previous. These guys that did Avengers and all that decided to go do something that really distance themselves from Marvel, Disney. This film is pretty dark, pretty bleak in comparison to that. And for some reason, even though they want to distance themselves from the whole Marvel thing, obviously with this film, they decided to bring Tom Holland with them.
And it's no secret what my face looks like.
To accompany them, and there's moments in here where he just comes off very much like Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker with the glasses in college and this kind of nerdy pushover that has shit jobs and kind of gets walked all over by other people at the beginning.
Hey, I'm really happy you're here.
Why is that?
Because I like you.
Positives on Cherry. The Russo brothers, they have some very interesting visual shots. There's heavy emotional scenes. Tom Holland gives the best performance of the film in a moment where he has to hang up on somebody before they hear him break down. I found that performance to be absolutely amazing. And the Russo brothers seemed like they had a lot they wanted to say with this, a lot they wanted to do with this. Some of it works really well. It's a bleak film with some moments that I found lightly amusing. They're far and few in between. Now, the second act was absolutely the strongest and most compelling, as Tom Holland's character takes on army life and experiences the devastating negative consequences of it that glues a permanent amount of intensity to the character that follows him for the rest of the film. Now, with that said, though, there's that. If I missed any of the positives, there's just so much negative in here that it really waters down the experience. So it's highly likely that I missed some positives. Let's get into the negatives.
You're gonna make it through this. I love you.
So the film tries too hard to be unique, different, with artsy shots that take away from the emotional impact and narrative. There's oddities in which I'm not sure what they were aiming for. The names of the banks, like Shit Bank, I kid you not, one of the banks, Shit Bank, and so on. Tom Holland meeting with the doctor, getting diagnosed and prescribed meds. For some reason, the doctor, which I'm sure was played by Reno 911's Lieutenant Dangle, has a nameplate on his desk, Dr. Whomever. Just things like that. I didn't really get what they were trying to convey or say. The movie has a clear act structure, a clear act breaking structure, only because it says on screen part 2 and so on. The acts do not transition well into each other. It's not a smooth transition at all. It's a hard stop, and it can be pretty disorienting. I understand this film's all about the journey, but it doesn't transition seamlessly. It makes it feel uneven, and it makes it feel as a collection of short stories, and transparently so. It's just uneven, much like the voice over. That doesn't really enhance the experience as it should. And the breaking the fourth wall moments with Tom Holland talking to us, the audience, that really took me out, immersing myself in this guy's experience, this character's story. The first and third act weren't very good, and if this film was aiming to do some kind of social commentary on drugs, addiction, PTSD, military life, it didn't convey it very well. I feel like, you know, this movie exists, and there are certain moments and stuff in it that are enjoyable, but it's very long-winded. The pacing's not good. It takes its time to tell the story. That the log line of the story Sounds really good, right? A guy comes back from the army, becomes a drug addict suffering from PTSD, and starts robbing banks. I mean, that sounds like it's going to be a solid, entertaining film. But what happens here is that there's just the pacing. It's very long-winded and not nearly as exciting as that logline sounds.
Sometimes I wonder if life was wasted on me.
Overall, I would say I'd give this film a 5 out of 10. It's a very average, middle-of-the-road movie that's completely forgettable. It's not something I don't think a lot of people would want to rewatch this. Maybe if you suffered from drug addiction or PTSD and it's more relatable to you, maybe it would draw you into it more so and have you coming back for repeat viewings.
Sometimes I feel like I've already seen everything that's gonna happen, and it's a nightmare.
So I wouldn't recommend repeat viewings. It's a 5 out of 10, very average, middle-of-the-road movie. Tom Holland does show he has range. Russos do show that they have more range. I know that this was them probably trying to steer clear and distance themselves from the whole Disney Marvel thing of it all. But you had Tom Holland accompany you with that. So it didn't really work that well either. It's not a smooth transition when you're bringing those actors along. Anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Fake good one here. Eventually will. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Stay awesome.
My one true accomplishment was not dying.